So in this section, we're actually going to solve for x. So that means there is an equal sign. And we want to get x all by itself. So I have one here. We're going to go through the steps. So first step, determine the least common denominator. This is the common denominator. So as I look at the fractions, I'm looking at the denominator. And we have a 3 and an x. So the common denominator would be 3x. Step 2, identify all restrictions. So we're going to look at the denominator and set them equal to 0. So set each denominator equal to 0. So x equals 0, 3 we don't have to worry about, but let's say, for example, if x was 0, could I have 5 over 0? No, you can't divide by 0. So our restriction is x cannot equal 0, because if it does, we'll have a 0 on the denominator, and we can't. Okay, step 3, multiply both sides of the equation by our common denominator. So I'm going to take 3x, and I'm going to multiply it by 5 over x and 1/3. And then I'm going to multiply it again on the other side by 1x. So I'm going to write out all the steps. As you go through this, you won't need to. But when we multiply that through, the 3x goes on the numerator of each one. So see, I just added 3x. I still have 5 over x, 1/3. And over here I have 3 over x times 1 over x. So because it was the common denominator, each one is going to cancel out the denominator. There's our x's, there's our 3's, there's our x's. So what we're left with is 3 times 5, x times 1 equals 3 times 1. So multiplying by the common denominator helps us get rid of the denominator. It gets rid of the fraction. That's why we do that. Alright, and then we solve. So step 4, we're going to solve. So I'm going to add the x to both sides and get rid of that negative. And then subtract the 3. So x equals 12. Okay, and then check for extraneous solutions. So an extraneous solution is when your solution is plugged back in to the original equation. And doesn't work. And we'll look at that. So my original is 5 over x, but we solved x to be 12. So I have 5 over 12 minus 1/3 equals 1 over 12. See, I just replaced the x with 12. And then we put that into our calculator. So if I take 5 12ths minus 1/3 and push my little fraction button, see, I get 1/12. So this one, 1/12 does equal 1/12. So our solution works. This is step 5, by the way. If you get two numbers that are not equal, that means no solution. Or if you get a solution that's up here in your restricted section, then it's no solution as well. So check your answers, make sure they work. That's what that last step is.